decks actually only uses unglued lands, so it's all the full card art.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. I remember at one point I had a deck with all arena land. It dates me. This is back in like the mid, like 97.
We might as well be speaking Spanish for James right now.
Unglued land?
Unglued land.
Unglued was a set of Magic that was entirely a joke. It was all gag cards, and they were all like, none of them were allowed in competitive play except for the lands, because the land was just land. It was just the basic cards, but they had this really nice artwork on them. So
Okay. All right.
that was just a little bit of a brag.
Little humble brag.
Yeah, a little humble brag.
That's great. And you can see, like, we have a different interface for the PVE cards. So they have a little bit of a change here. And so we have PVE and PvP cards. And you can use PvP cards wherever you want, including competitive play. PvE cards can only be used in the PvE experience. So it's one of the ways that we sort of segregate the two sides, so we can have the power level and also give them away for free and not have it hurt our economy, which is a very important part of it.
So you can balance the PvE cards kind of to be stronger, right?
Or we can give you the range, the full range,
Gotcha.
and not be afraid that we've made a very powerful PvE card, which we need to be giving you as part of the awesome rewards. That then becomes more valuable than the cards that people have bought for their collection. So it's important to keep that balance in place, because we want secondary market value to be a real thing in Hex, and it really is. We have cards that are worth 50, 60, 70 bucks. So I mean, real world money for these cards, and so we have to protect that, and that's very important.
This is the closest digital card game I've seen to kind of capturing what Magic was all about and what it has. Like, obviously you guys, like you said, have done a lot of things that could never happen in a physical card game, like the sockets and that sort of thing, and the permanence, but it really feels like you guys are like adapting or sticking close to that, but very like just one step farther, right? Like one big step into the digital world.
I have no idea what that game is you're talking about.
I meant that as a compliment, for the record, not as a how could you copy Magic? 'Cause I think every card game at this point owes something to Magic.
I still have no idea what you're talking about. All right, so here we have a card, like, for as an example, Bloodlust, and this says orcs you control have speed. Oh, that's a cool card. So one of the things we've also done is that all of the cards can have up to 2 pieces of equipment. And so you can imagine, that, like the socketing, you have equipment you can wear that actually changes what the card does. So in this one, as an example, we have the Banner of Blood, and this is a trinket slot item, and your Bloodlust have now, when an orc you control deals damage to a champion, that troop gets, this deals double damage. So now all of your orcs are dealing double damage because you're wearing the trinket Banner of Blood. And so every time you use that card, you get that advantage. And there's also another one here. Oh, look, we can wear the Bloodlust Invokers. And your Bloodlust have, when this enters play, each orc in your hand gets cost -1. Oh, that's cool too. So you've got all these really fun sort of interesting play-arounds, build-arounds that we put into the equipment system in the game to, again, give you such a deeper sandbox experience. I'll tell you, there is, and again, I apologize for the people that have heard me talk about Hex infinitum ad nauseum. There is nothing like it. There is nothing like this game. We've had to invent entirely new ways to play, new systems. It's been a complete pain in the ass to design and figure out how to make all this stuff lock together into a perfect clockwork. But I got to tell you, what we've made is beautiful, and there's never been anything like it.
I was gonna say, by adding the gem slots and these, what are these equipment slots, it changes balancing the game from a matter of cards against cards to iterations of cards against cards, and I imagine that's just maddening to figure out, but probably rewarding if you can strike something.
Yeah,
nice.
no, it's a huge. I mean, we have a huge. A relatively large group of R&D folks that are super talented. They spend a ton of time. We've got some very, some amazing people. And, when it comes to the PvP side, we spend a lot of time balancing that. PvE, we spend a lot of time balancing that too. There's going to be mistakes, but, on the PvE side, it's fine to fix that stuff. PvP, we will never change a PvP card. We've made that decision. We will only ban it. We had our first card that we banned recently, actually. We banned a card, and our commitment to the secondary market and to people's collections means that changing the cards sets a bad precedent.
Yeah.
And so what we'll do is we'll ban cards, which sounds like it's worse, but it's actually not, because we're very good at designing and balancing cards, and so we're very careful about using that ban. When it comes to the PvE side, we're going to be a little more flexible because there's so much content and so much going on that there will be mistakes, and we don't want to trivialize that content, so we will change stuff.
And that's also important for if somebody spends $60 real on a card and then suddenly it's nerfed and it's worthless now. Like that would be enraging probably as that player. Somebody was freaking out about the Fennec in the corner there. I don't know if you're allowed to click that one. But.
Sure. It's cute. I'll give you a spoiler. It has the funniest audio. We have actually a really great audio team. We have one gentleman and another one that works remote. I don't know where they found this Fennec Fox sound, but it makes this little like weird little. But I think it's actually what a Fennec Fox sounds like. So it's pretty funny. Like all the different cards have different sounds they make. So we actually sound design against the thematics of all the cards, which is very fun at times to figure out. Like, well, what does a Gobbleglade Witch sound like? Like that's a fun part of the job.
So are you nervous at all about like these slots on slots and like cards with slots and all that sort of stuff making like the game kind of not readable for a new player at all? Like, because if you see a card art, right, if you see the Fennec Fox, but then it does something different than the first time you saw it, like, is that, how much was that a concern of yours, I guess?
It's a concern, but the key is to slowly turn the heat up on the pot, right? Mm-hmm. Like, once you jump into HEX, I mean, we've done a very poor job, I think, in the beginning here to sort of bring that new player in. Our onboarding process is miserable; it's the worst. And it's sad because we have this beautiful mansion, and in front is a rickety set of stairs with a bottomless pit under it, and it's got holes. So the people who have jumped and made their way over the stairs get in the mansion are like, "Oh my God, this is beautiful! I love it! How could I not have been here sooner?" But unfortunately, lots of people are falling through the stairs getting there. So what we're doing with this PVE launch is we've redesigned the entire beginning onboarding process, and we're trying to make it something that doesn't dissuade a player from sticking with it and playing. We've got a tutorial that's going to be really great. We got the PVE experience, which actually sort of slowly builds you into it, shows you what different cards are, gives you cards. So there's a bit of a slow build, I think, that overcomes some of what you're talking about. But ultimately, you know what? I wanted the ability to be super creative when it came to building those decks, building those cards, and it was just part of it. It was just a price you had to pay. But you're correct. There actually is something to that. This deck is invalid. It has 2 cards in it. Yes, I am aware.
It's not going to get you far.
No, my 2-card Azure Fate Cockatrice deck is probably not going anywhere. I don't know if this is loading or if it's just okay. So I want to show you the store real quick. We've done a great job, I think, making this the most beautiful TCG that's ever been created. I'm going to show you all that we sell, and we've made a commitment. All we're going to sell is starter decks and booster packs. That's it. So we're not going to sell all the other little bits and pieces. Those are things that you earn from playing the game. So stuff like sleeves and the PVE cards and equipment and all that. Mercenaries, which I haven't even talked about yet.
And when you say sell, you mean with real money?
Real money. Okay. So the only things you buy with real money are the booster packs and the starter decks. Everything else you can sort of earn in the game. This is Kismet. This is our Primal of Luck. And this is Kismet's Altar. And this is where you actually get to open up packs of cards. I imagine the people that love the game are sitting on the stream right now saying, I know all of this. Show me something else, you son of a bitch. So I'm going to show you, you drag a pack of cards into her altar. I'm trying to get you new players. That's what I'm doing. I'm showing them all the cool stuff. And so you see all the cards fly out. Our connection's a little wonky, but you see all the commons, all the uncommons, and then it glows either blue or red. Blue if it's a rare, red if it's a legendary. And then you click on that, and it reveals to you the Incantation of Fury. Okay. It could have been more exciting. Remember I opened up the first pack I opened? It was Urnaz. It would have been so perfect. So one of the great things about this is you also get a chest in every pack. So I thought, it's a digital pack. Pack opening is such an important part of a TCG experience. Ripping open, hearing the crinkle, smelling that fresh inky. I love it. So I tried to think, how could I make the pack opening experience as exciting as possible? And I thought, well, I could just put more shit in there. So you actually get a treasure chest in every pack, and they also have levels of rarity. And then you actually get to use gold to spin the wheels of fate and win other stuff. So I've built in a way to.
So it's like a jukebox or a slot machine.
It's like a jukebox. I like that first one. Yeah. It's not like a slot machine at all. So you win. I won the ability to spin it again for free, and so you can actually win more packs of cards. You can upgrade your chest. You can win sleeves. There's all kinds of stuff that you can win. spinning the Wheels of Fate. Again, another very good gold sink, and one of the ways that we make gold actually valuable.
So when you say gold sink, what do you mean by that?
Ways to spend gold. So exciting, sexy, 1,000 boner ways to spend gold, so that gold actually has real value. So we've run out of ways to spin this. So I'm going to go ahead and open it, and then these chests can be, again, just about everything, including another pack of cards, mercenaries, sleeves, PVE and PvP cards. This case we got a rare Stardust. Okay, that's pretty cool. Got a rare Stardust. Awesome.
And so this is all from just one pack that you opened.
All from one pack. Here's a legendary.
You either would have paid real money or sold in-game assets to get platinum, which is the paid material.
Correct.
Okay.
So I'm spinning on this legendary chest now. Let's see what we get here. And legendary chests can actually be spun and upgraded to the primal chest, and it's the only way to get one. We did not, because we're not. Kismet does not love me right now. And so I've opened up this legendary chest, and let's see what I get. And the legendary chests actually have 2 items in them. And so in this case, look, I won another pack of cards. So it's like an Inception. I started the whole process over again, which has another chest inside of it. I also got the Warp Petal, which each card named Warpstone have cost -1. It's okay. Warpstone's a pretty cool card. All right. So that's the pack opening experience, which I think is fairly sexy. You got this whole Wheels of Fate thing. You got treasure chests. You got cards. Oh, I forgot to mention, we also have what's called primal packs. And so once in a while when you're buying packs, you'll trigger a primal pack, and it's this gold pack. There's not one in here. It's a failure. But what it is every card in the 17 card pack is either a rare or a legendary. No, 15 cards. 15 cards in those packs. Every card is a rare or a legendary. So they are actually very valuable, which is a very fun little sort of, reward once in a while that you get that can sell for like, $20 in the auction house if you're not interested in popping it to get, more platinum to enter tournaments or whatever you want.
Real quick, shout out to Fentio in the chat who's just been dropping beta codes and pack codes the entire time.
That's our community manager.
Yeah.
And so those are some of the innovations. This is the new opening screen, and then I will show you some of the RPG-ish sort of stuff that we have. You can see here we have this, although for some reason this build doesn't have my cloud layer. There's a cloud layer on this globe that makes it look really spectacular, but you can see, you can look around. This globe is actually what we're going to explore over the course of Hex's life. Currently, we have designed about 7 years worth of storytelling built into the globe.
7 real years?
Yes.
Damn. Okay.
So we put out three sets of years, the goal, and we're going to have PVE locked along with that yearly component, and we're going to unlock different pieces of the globe. And so I've sat down and sort of sketched out all the areas and what the story beats are for those areas. So we've got about 7 years worth of content on this globe.
My goodness.
So one of the great things about Hex is, and I've shown you all those interesting, really weird new ways to play a TCG, is that we are also sort of this MMORPG as well. And so what you're going to be able to do is, for instance, create a character. And you can create, an Underworld or Ardent, which is our 2 sort of good and bad side. So let's say for the Underworld, let's say male... The Venin. So the Venin are spidery, like spiders and orcs. So there's this giant god of the spiders, and she captured these orcs and she used them as raw material, and so she created these sort of orc spider hybrids called the Venin. So they're these very cool.
Nasty.
Yeah. And so we see here we can pick from cleric, warrior, and mage. This is also, I'm going to guess, exploding on your Twitch stream right now.
There's a bit of hype right now, yeah.
Hype and or questions. Yes, this is the first 3 classes we're going to be launching with in PvE. We have all 8 races available, which have race class individual combos, which creates this incredible number of different ways to play. But we are launching with 3 classes to start with of our 6. The goal is to have all of those, coming up, but we're launching with this first 3.
And these classes are specifically for the PvE?
PvE experience, correct. So you'll be able to pick from a cleric, a warrior, or a mage. So in this case, we have the mage selected. And you can see here you have talents. So the mages, as an example, have their charge power. So when you play a resource in our game, you actually get a charge. Mm-hmm. And the charge power allows you to get spell points. And spell points you can use to cast your spells. And you have a bunch of different spells that you can unlock as part of your talent tree. And you have specific racial stuff too. So you can see here race class combo talent that is specific to the Venom Mage is weakness. And so for this one, for using 2 of its spell points, target troop gets -1 attack. You know, one of the great things about the game is that we wanted to give, and this is where, you know, Ben Stoll, my lead designer, spent so much time building these talent trees. He's so talented. He did this great job of giving real texture to what it meant to be a Venom mage. So, and being a human mage was, you know, something very different. So we can see, as an example, the human mage. What does he have? Here's his racial talent is you earn an additional 10% experience. You earn an additional 2% gold while at maximum level. Racial talent here, +1 starting and maximum hand size during dungeon boss encounters. We've got the race class combo talent for 7 spell points, which is like a spell, basically learned spell, polymorph beast. Revert and transform target troop into a random beast with cost 2. So you can see it has, the human mage has some different stuff it does than the Venom mage, which creates this really fun level of replayability as you go through and level up these different types of guys, and you can see all the different things that they can do.
And all of this is I know I've asked this like 3 times, but I just want to make sure it's completely clear. This is all just separate from the competitive part of the game.
Yeah, so, you know, we have, on the competitive side, before I run out of time and don't get a chance to mention it, scream 1,000 things at once at you, like, no, don't forget. We just wrapped up our first big esports event, speaking of, I should have brought this up during esports. I was so stupid. Oh my God. Terrible. What an amateur. So we had our first big esports. We had this invitational qualifier where you could play the game, and you play in the competitive gauntlets and drafts, and you got, if you won them, you got these points, and you could turn the tokens. You won these tokens. You return the tokens in these qualifiers. If you won the qualifier, there was 12 of them. You actually get to be flown out to Irvine to play at a live event that we're putting on at this place called Esports Arena in Orange County, and you're playing for a $100,000 purse. Wow. And so it's really cool. So it's our first big esports event, and that's coming up. And so yes. This is the PVE side of the game. The PvP side is all about that competitive play. It's one of our biggest focuses, you know, in terms of making it a real TCG, is making sure real esports is a big thing, and so we do a lot to support it. The PVE side is all about that, you know, free to play, fun gameplay. It's about exploring our story. It's about going through dungeons and this world map, this node system that I don't think anyone's seen yet. So this is what making a character looks like. I'm going to go back here. I have some saved characters here. I'll jump in one. How are we doing on time, by the way?
We're good. We're good.
How much time do we have?
Anywhere between 10 and 25 minutes, depending on how long you'd like to stay.
So I don't want to show a ton of this. Like we you know.
More is coming.
Yes. So we have, you know, this content is going to be released relatively soon. I'm going to piss a bunch of people off right now and announce an announcement. So we have an announcement going out tomorrow that is an announcement. I'm very excited. Well, this is a running joke because we announced an announcement and then didn't do it. And I want to take full responsibility for it. And I'll actually tell you what it was. We were going to actually do a playthrough and show a lot of this content off. And Ben, our lead designer, and myself, were going to play through it and talk to people about it. And I decided not to do it because I didn't want to spoil too much of it. I feel like we spent so much time and put so much work into what this is, and it's so different and it's so fun. I didn't want their first experience to just be sort of passively watching it through a Twitch stream. No offense. I mean, this is great. I love the opportunity. But
we get that you don't like being here.
No.
It's fine.
It's not that.
Not personal.
We have a lot of people who have been very dedicated over the last 2 years to us and to what this game can be, and I didn't want to spoil it that way. And so I want to show off some of the stuff, but I want to be a little careful about how much we show because I'm excited for these people to jump in and get a chance to play it.
So those of you who are the more hardcore ones, this is your final spoiler warning. If you don't want to see the PvE, get out.
Yeah, and again, we're not showing everything. I'm showing a little bit, but here's an example. I wanted to show you one of the champions here.
Is that guy's name Mulder?
Mulder. There's Ripley, Mulder, River, Scully, Bender. This was Kyle Hoyer, one of our producers, actually made those up. So he injected some personality into them. So actually, you haven't even seen the gameplay itself. I wonder if this is loading a battle right now. These saves are all in different places, so let's see what comes up here.
Gotcha.
Or if anything comes up at all.
Those of you listening quietly on iTunes, we are jumping into a PVE section.
There's an amazing screen right now. Some of the most visually stunning graphics imaginable.
I can't believe
Black on black.
It's a lot of
okay, there we go.
nudity. So you can see here we have this this globe, and you can see a lot of the checkpoints have been sort of explored.
Oh wow! So there's like there's the whole map.
Yes, it's the whole map.
Yeah.
And so you're eventually going to, and this is all Tyler, our art director, modeled and painted every inch of that damn map. So as you explore this thing, it's incredible. But I wanted to show you was here we have the card manager that's part of the campaign. So there are so many things that going into making a campaign work. When it comes to stuff like, hey, how do you balance campaign encounters if I have access to every card in the game? Why don't I just take all of my legendaries and blow through all of this content? These are all the sorts of things in terms of challenges that we had to overcome. And so we have some really clever ways that we've done that. As an example, we have this grid system that tells you exactly what cards you can play in terms of how many copies of each type of shard, and then also what rarity levels. So as you level up, that grid changes and opens up more cards for you to actually build your decks from. So it's a way for us to help limit sort of what you have available to you. You can see here you got your equipment slots. So this guy, as an example, has on the winged alloy helm. So his Petrobots, not Terrabots, have dwarves and/or robots, and all your zones have cost -1. So that's and this card says that he costs -1 for every dwarf or robot that you have in play. So it's this fun little combo thing. So as you can see, you can wear 7 pieces of equipment, and then you'll see here, as an example, this is the warrior, and this is his talent tree. So those little abilities that we were talking about before, that's what these represent at the bottom. But then these are actually all of the abilities that you have to unlock and to spend points on as you level up.
And if you showed me this screenshot completely out of context, I would think we were looking at like an RPG, like an action RPG.
Yeah, and then you'd hear as a TCG and you'd get 1,000 boners, right? You've never seen anything like this. It's incredible.
Is that why that's being spammed in the chat constantly?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm trying to find real traction for that term. 1,000 boners. So 1 KB, you can abbreviate it. It works. But you see example, he has the charge power of, deal 2 damage, target opposing champion or troop. If it's a troop, it deals damage back to them. If it's a champion, you can't replenish resources until the end of your next turn. So there's all these really fun things that we've done through the talent tree. And as you unlock the various talent trees, you're going to unlock more and more customizable components for your character. So if you imagine this RPG experience, unlocking all of these talents, putting on equipment, changing how your cards work, putting in sockets. I mean, you can't tell me you've ever heard of a game that does the kind of stuff that we're doing.
Not in a TCG.
It's all wholly through the lens of a TCG. It's all wholly unique, and so this is the talent system. Let me show you one of the boards. Let's see here. So let's go back out. Let's click on what's going on here. This is the scar. Oh, we have this, well, let's see if I can, it's hidden behind the thing, but hopefully it's loading right now. So we have this incredibly sort of robust storytelling dynamic that's part of this whole PVE experience, and that I'm very excited for, did that work? For people to, no, I don't think it did. Let's double click here. So this is the Ghoul encampment. Ghoul encampment. Pronounced that wrong?
I think you can, yeah. There you go.
So as an example, you've got little things like the ghoul, and you get to talk to them. Hey, I want another reading. So what he had done was he actually gave you this tarot reading, and one of the things that it did was actually give you a bonus for the next time that you're going to be in combat. Oh, well, we got an error there. Let's see if the card blows up. Nope, but this one gives you begin your next game with 1 resource in play. Oh, that's a poor example. Well done. Let's see here.
Well, that's why it's not out yet, right? You're still working on it.
Yeah. So here's an example. Okay, so Pale Moon, I'm going to go ahead and go into a fight with Pale Moon, and I think this is going to show off our Mesa battle board, and you can see exactly how beautiful HEX is in terms of its graphical interface. One of the things that we pride ourselves on is that we're trying to, sort of raise the bar in terms of how beautiful a TCG can be.
Everyone's spamming error confirmed in chat now, so.
Error confirmed.
Confirmed new card.
Error. It's a little OP. We're probably going to have to nerf it. Actually, I'm going to ban it. That'd be even better.
So now we're finally in. This is the first time we've seen what the actual like gameplay of a game looks like.
Correct.
And when you actually do get into a match, it's similar to what the competitive play is.
Correct. So this is the Mesa battle board. You can see fully animated. I'm going to go ahead and keep this hand. Unfortunately, this is getting a little cut off, but we can see here we have armor, because I'm a warrior, so at the start of each turn I prevent the next damage that would be dealt to you this turn for each armor I have. I've got a charge power, which we looked at earlier, which did damage to the opposing champion or troop. And so you can see I'm going to throw out a resource here, which is very cool. So I throw out my resource, I get a resource point, and I had one because I had that Gahul encampment, gave me a free one. So now I'm actually able to cast Spam Bot on turn 1. Now we just had a prophecy go off because in this on this battle board we have this special rule that says whenever I cast a troop, the next troop in my deck is +1/+1. That's called a prophecy, which is one of our cool mechanics. And that's one of the fun things about the game is that you don't just play a TCG over and over again. We've tried to build into the various encounters special rules, changed objectives. Maybe one of the encounters you're just trying to last 15 turns. Maybe one of the encounters you got to beat the boss within 3 turns. In some of the encounters, you're actually you get a little device that you're using to actually collect some of the other cards. You've got to sort of keep them at bay without beating them until you get a chance to collect enough of those cards. So what we've tried to do is take all the components of the TCG and marry it to all the fun puzzle sort of elements you could imagine in a traditional RPG sort of a game.
And so you still, despite all this kind of like this movable world map and this huge planet that you can spin and that sort of stuff, it's still, when you get into a battle, it's interesting that you still have kind of a paper deck and cards are paper cards on what is basically a table, although it looks like this Mesa battlefield.
Well, that's part of that's the stuff that we love about TCGs. And what we're going to do is we're going to take everything we love about TCGs and make it into something new and fresh. So here's an example. Pale Moon, the champion, I just blew up on his guy. He has an ability called Wane, which says target opposing troop without defensive gets defensive, and I can revert it. So basically what he's done is he said that my guys, he can turn them, which you can see here he's targeting my frigid buffalo. He's made him into a guy that cannot attack. He can only block until I spend resource points to sort of unlock him so that I can use him again. And so that's his little special ability. And all the different guys you fight all have different special abilities, and so it makes it sort of a ton of fun. So this is an example of what the actual gameplay is like. Again, sort of a traditional TCG, but we've got some really fun stuff going on.
And a lot of that is a lot of the changes is what we saw in the collection manager and that sort of thing with like the slots and the gems and the equipment.
Correct. And so I want to show you also very quickly here.
So you just conceded so we can show some more stuff there.
Exactly.
Not because it was hopeless.
He had me beat. There was nothing that I could do. It's a little slow.
If it's loading slow, it's the internet in our building is not quite the best. It's inconsistent, let's say that. And also we were in a very hot room with a laptop that doesn't have a cooler and that sort of stuff. So it's.
Is it getting hot in here?
You couldn't tell. You're in like all 2 shirts and a sweater. Like, whoa.
I think you know how those lyrics.
It's his thing.
All right, it's getting hot in here. Let's take off all our clothes.
Oh no.
Okay, so I'm going to take.
It's not that kind of stream.
Oh my god. I thought you people were ready to party. Okay, so I'm taking you over to one of the cities. This is the Dorvin Cave-In, so it's one of our panoramas. And this is going to be one of the other sort of interfaces that we have. Let's see, is it doing it? Or is it... I can see. Explore. There we go. I can look on my screen. And so one of the great things that we've done is create these things called panoramas that are the various cities. And then we have these parallaxing layers and animations. I don't think all the animations are quite in on this one yet. I think the build that's current, this is the last build, has them all in, but it is a good example of one of the cool things. Yeah, it's not everything's in. So you have these panoramas, and what you do, and the final version has all of these gems are all animated, and things are lighting up and moving. And so what this does is where you can get, you can click on people and get quests. So you'll talk to them, and they'll have things to tell you. There's vendors. There's all kinds of different stuff to do in these areas. And as you can see, it gives this sort of 3D feel, but still painterly, which is one of the challenges. I mean, traditional trading card games are all about these sort of painted, cards. And one of the things we want to do is say, how do we translate that painted feel into an immersive sort of 3D-esque world? And that's been a big challenge, but something I think we've done a very good job of in terms of making it look very, very cool.
And you plan to add kind of more basically campaigns and more worlds with each of those expansions you were mentioning, where you're going to try to do 3 a year.
Yes, well, those are the expansions that are PvP sets.
Oh, okay.
So those are like the 3 sets of cards a year.
Yeah.
And then with those, sort of in between those, with those, all around those, there'll
Gotcha.
be PvE sort of hitting on its own pace. But eventually it'll all sync up, and then when we go to new parts of the world, the theme of the PvP packs will be related to the themes inside the PvE experience.
Right.
So that stuff will all link up eventually. Right now we have our first big PvE launch. And we have lots of stuff in it, lots of stuff to explore. But as we keep going, we'll put in more and more and more. We have a lot of stuff that we've sort of talked about via the Kickstarter in terms of features, including something that I didn't mention before, which is mercenaries. So mercenaries are actually these little characters that are build-arounds that aren't in the game at this point, but they have these very specific build-arounds, and when you have mercenaries, you can bring 3 of them with you into your dungeon experience. And the way the dungeons work are, and we have a big feature going up tomorrow that walks through one of the dungeons. The way the dungeons work is that it's a series of encounters up to anywhere from 5 to 15, or maybe even more, encounters in a row. You bring 1 deck with you, and then you have to beat all of those, and you have 3 lives. And so as you go through it, if you lose a game, that's losing a life, and if you lose all 3, then you're kicked back out of the game. One of the great things about the mercenaries is they're going to come with you, and they actually add additional lives to your attempts at the dungeon. And they also have passive bonuses. So while they're alive, they haven't been beaten. They give you passive bonuses for your main champion. And they also have these really great build-arounds. There might be one like Zoltog, who's an orc, and he says, all orcs in your deck get +1/+1. And his ability is that, if you spend charges, you can summon, you can give target orc +5 attack or whatever it is, which would be terrible for a player, character, because like I can only play orc cards. It makes no sense. But it's great as this one-off sort of build-around. It gives you this really new way to be creative in terms of building the deck around that sort of design parameter, which is what the mercenaries do in a very cool way.
Cool. So what else do you have to show off for us, or could we start taking Twitch chat questions?
I think we can take the
Twitch
chat questions.
Well, then we're gonna.
Tongue twister.
Yeah, it is. It is a tongue twister. So we can switch off the game, and we'll be taking your questions from Twitch chat. If you are watching on YouTube at youtube.com/PCGamer or on our iTunes podcast or on the site or wherever. We can't take your questions because we can't read your mind, but you are always welcome to come and watch the stream live at twitch.tv/PCGamer, 1 p.m. on Pacific time on Tuesdays. For those of you who would like to ask questions, just write PCGamer or at PCGamer in the Twitch chat, and we'll pick them out. You can ask questions for Cory about HEX. You can ask us our opinions on anything in the world in PC gaming these days, whatever you'd like. Just use at PCGamer in the chat, and we'll see what your question is. Let's see. Sadolution asks, do we get to choose our favorite playfield skins for PvP matches, like sleeves for the deck?
No. The PvE experience is where we're going to be using the themed battle boards, so no, you don't get to choose those for PvP. We've talked about things in the future, but I actually have a different plan for how to modify the playfield specific for PvP, and so I want to save that for, I think, a slightly more exciting execution.
Chippy Stick asks, is there actually an announcement tomorrow? Or are you announcing that there is no announcement for the announcement of the announcement?
I explained why we didn't, and again, I take full responsibility for our last announce something that we don't announce. That was my fault. I made the decision, and I made it kind of late, so it's my bad. But yes, we do have something to announce tomorrow, and I think that's great.
Cool.
Or we don't, and I'm trolling you. One of the two.
That would be some high-level trolling right there.
Damn.
Zophie Winters asks, how is the progress coming on 2v2 and other multiplayer formats?
Not at all. That's something that's a little ways away. The biggest problem, we have core systems that have to be completed before we do the raid component in the game, and so that's one of the things that's coming. 2v2 has its own unique problems that we still have to overcome. Multiple people playing against an AI opponent is manageable because everyone can sort of move at a pretty quick pace because the chain reactions are with an AI, and so it can move it pretty fast. The problem with 2v2 is you're creating a bunch of of chains basically that require other people to make decisions. So it slows down to a crawl and becomes super unfun, super fast. So we're trying to figure out other ways to have a multiplayer experience that is actually enjoyable. And the raids is a big part of that. We have a thing in the game that's going to be in the future called raids, where you actually get to play against a raid boss, an AI opponent, and you and two of your friends, like the three of us, we could sit together like this in this hot room, and we could play against a dragon, which would be thematically correct because it feels so hot and humid in here.
I'm into that.
And we could play against this. Three of us together. We'd build decks together. We'd strategize. It was something I actually created for the WoW TCG called raids. We'd all strategize together. You have a deck that's healing guys, and I have a deck that's doing a bunch of damage, and then we'll solve the puzzle of that raid boss. So that's something that's coming up. That's going to be the really cool multiplayer component in the game. Cool.
Malikari asks, "Do you have a release date?"
Soon. And I know there was a drinking game people were talking about, so I could say soon a bunch of times, and soon they'll all be dead from alcohol poisoning.
Oh, God. Our Kickstarter cards, Rendicor asks, are Kickstarter cards coming to PvE launch?
We have...
and maybe you can explain what that means.
So we had a Kickstarter,
yes.
and it was very popular. And we had lots of stuff in the Kickstarter, and we are still giving those rewards out. As we sort of grow the game, it unlocks different pieces of the Kickstarter promises that we can sort of give to the players. I'm not sure. I know we've talked about some of this stuff, but I'm not quite sure where we are in terms of actually delivering some of that stuff. I know it's very soon, but I'm not sure if it's with this patch or coming as a small patch pretty quickly after that. So I'm not quite sure where we are.
Cool. Mr. Rollup asks, "Hey Cory, do you have a plan for spectator mode to extend esports hype?"
Yeah, that's one of the things that we definitely want to do. I mean, there are a few different things that are, we've been so focused on PvE right now and trying to get the campaign. You can see how, we didn't show you a ton of it, but it's very, very deep. There are a lot of core systems. There's a big difference between making a core system, which is like crafting a bucket, as opposed to just pouring stuff into a bucket. Pouring stuff into a bucket is a lot easier than crafting that bucket. I'm here to tell you. So we've been doing a lot of bucket crafting. The foe.
It's one of the best analogies for game making I've heard in a long time.
I have better. I have a lot better than that. There's an acorn and a race car and making a cake and a sausage factory. So there is a lot easier to make that content you're pouring in than the bucket. We've been so focused on making buckets right now that for the PvE, that some of the other stuff for PvP has sort of been the coming soon. One of the things that we want to do in the relatively near future is, yes, spectator mode, and we also want to get our player rankings component in, which is also going to be very exciting for people.
Shu Kadaj asks, "Did you notice Cory trolling you earlier?" No, I didn't. When was that?
What?
I don't.
It's been nothing but cordial.
Candor.
I've been playing footsie with both of them the whole time. You can't see that, but
some long legs.
Long legs.
Like, 4 feet away.
Long, weird, multiple knees.
What do you mean legs?
Yeah.
OP is OP asks, so can characters perma-die in campaigns?
No. They can't perma-die. We do, that's funny you should bring that up. We just had a long conversation about a game mode that is going to include a permadeath feature that's going to be, I think, very, very clever. Ben had some really neat ideas, and so that's funny. That should be brought up. We have a conversation just about that. But no, in the regular PvE that's launching, you can't perma-die.
A couple of people asking if there's a max number of character slots.
I think it's 10. I think we're starting off with 10 character slots.
Okay. And then, oh man, these questions are moving quick, so I apologize.
I'm sorry.
A couple of people asking any news on double backs, and maybe you can explain what that is too.
The double back. So it's another one of the everything in the kitchen sink features that I sort of dreamed up for a digital TCG. The idea is, and I give you the pitch, a card, you flip it over, it's got a back. You flip it again, it's got a double back.
What?
And so the idea,
What the fuck?
So the idea was, it's cool, it's a digital card, it's got double back. And the idea was on the double back, you would have achievements you could unlock for each of the individual cards. So every card in our game is an individual tracked object. So we're tracking billions and billions of individual items in our database. So every card's a unique item. What that meant was you could put a bunch of cool stuff on the back of a card individually. So this is the actual card that you had when you won that tournament, and we have a trophy case. And so that card would get a trophy that when you rolled over it, it would say, you won the IQ qualifier on December the 16th, 2016, and with your name. and that name would become a sort of digital signature. So if you were a pro player, later on you could trade the deck that you won the whole big giant tournament with full of the cards, trade those cards individually to people, and because they would have that trophy on that card, it makes it unique.
Pretty cool.
Right?
That's pretty cool.
It also has level up bar, so when you're doing like, I have a burn to the ground, and I burned, 1,000 points of damage with that thing, then it would level up, and it was going to get foil pass, although we're still working on what that reward's going to be. I don't know if it's going to be foil at this point. We also had achievements on the back of it. And so there'd be 3 different achievements or 2 different achievements. So some of that stuff's being thought through, what works and what doesn't. The achievement system on a card per card level is turning out to be unfun, and so we're looking at how to make it fun. But that was what a double back was, and it's something that's in process still, but it's not launching with this next patch.
We had a couple questions about just any news on set 4 for PvP as well.
Set 4 for PvP. Set 4 is complete. Art is complete. Testing is almost complete. Equipment is the thing that's still, I think, has a little bit of work happening on it. But Set 4 is almost completely finished. It's sort of sitting in the can almost at this point. We're doing more testing on it, so it's nice and clean when we do launch it. But I would imagine Set 4 is coming soon as well.
Set 4 imminent release. I did one.
Set 4. I like it. That was good. That was like a dad joke. That's right.
And to round it out with a actually not HEX related question from one of our subscribers, JBJ Blaze, asks, what are your guys' thoughts on pre-orders? Do you recommend pursuing them? And I saw you asking also in the chat earlier about XCOM, pre-ordering XCOM 2. Generally, my opinion on, I think our group opinion on pre-orders is that you should not, unless there is some like incentive behind it, like unless like if you want to like support the developer and you really are like actively like, I want this developer to like have a clear message that their game should succeed, then that's great, like totally do that. But generally also pre-orders are just like you want to wait till at least closer when people have played the game, you know, because there's a lot of double talk that you can think a game will be one thing and then it'll come out and it'll be another.
I'll tell you, pre-orders have can have a big impact on some of your favorite developers because they look at the publishers look at those pre-order numbers as an indicator of how well they're going to do. Yeah. And if it's pretty far out, one of the things you can, I mean, that's not the case, but for some of these games, if they're trying to take pre-orders way far in advance, my guess is that you have a publisher sort of fishing for interest to figure out what to do with the game. Yeah. So if you love a game, the pre-order is a great way to give it a vote of confidence, as you mentioned.
Yeah, and I think that is an important distinction, is that if you pre-order, understand the risks that come with it, is I guess what I'm saying. Where if you pre-order a game that nobody but the developers have played and then it comes out and suddenly it's not as good as you hoped, like that's on you. You know, like you can pre-order if you'd like, but that's kind of one of the risks that comes with it. For XCOM, I personally have played a lot of XCOM 2 already, and I would say that game is very, very fun. So
do your research, find your trusted sources like PCGamer.com perhaps.
Oh, what a plug.
What do you know? And,
what a plug.
You know, if I can tell you, if Tommy Boy here says XCOM 2 is going to be solid, it's probably going to be solid.
For the record, I think that's the first time you've ever called me Tommy Boy, ever.
Is that a thing you get called?
No. Nobody calls me that. That's a new thing. Yeah, apparently. I don't mind it.
It's trying to be friendly and casual.
Unfortunately, though, we are running out of time, so we got to wrap it up. Thank you very much, everyone, for your questions about HEX and JBJ Blaze.
I have one last thing to say, too.
Yeah, please.
I like to end every time I talk to people. We have the best community in gaming. I mean, it is incredible. It started off with the Kickstarter and aggregating a bunch of people that really believed in the dream of what we were trying to accomplish. And, you know, I don't know if it's because they're TCG players or maybe slightly older. I don't know what it is, but we have the most incredible group of people in our forums and playing our game. When you log in, new players often, if they ask for some cards or some help, they're inundated with just, you know, gifts from other players. I get the comment from other game company CEOs, like, how do you keep such a positive community? And I got to tell you, we are just blessed with this amazing group of people. So I think new people who want to jump in and play HEX, go to our forums, you know, jump into the channel. There's always these called nobles, where I hired someone to be in the channel, chatting with people 24/7. Talk to the nobles, talk to the players. There are people who would be absolutely thrilled to help you learn how to play the game and probably give you some cards to get started. That's one of the great things about TCGs. You know, you end up with, you know, bazillions of commons and uncommons, so it's easy to be generous. And so it's really created this incredible culture. And I think what I'm most proud of in this game isn't just the inventions or how great it is to play or how fun it is. It's really the community that sort of came and rallied around it to support it.
Well, cool. And so where can people go to learn more about HEX if they're not as familiar?
They can go to hextcg.com. Is probably the easiest way. They can jump into our forums. They can talk to people. They can check out all the information they need on that site. Or, from that site, you can download the game. It's free to play. You can jump in, start, checking it out. And it's a ton of fun.
It's free to play, but it's not free to play.
You don't have to spend any money. I'm not going to spoon feed you how to have fun without spending any money, but you can jump in. We really do. We give you stuff to start with. You can go in and play Frostring Arena, which is all free, and goof around and fiddle around with the cards and have a ton of fun. And honestly, you jump into chat for even 5 minutes, you'll probably find someone willing to send you a bunch of the commons to help make your deck better. So, this community is amazing.
Well, that's great to hear, and hopefully that continues through when the game doesn't have the beta tag and all that stuff as well. So,
yeah.
But Cory, thank you very much for joining us. It's been an absolute pleasure. Also, thank you, James, for sitting quietly while we rambled about card games.
It's all right. My voice is going anyway.
Yeah. It was a good day for you to be able to.
Thanks for having me on. I'm actually a huge PC Gamer fan. I mean, I've been in the industry 20 years. I would get the PC Gamer was always my favorite thing. The big, at one point, phone book size PC Gamer was just always the best. Like
it's thinned a little, but it's still. We like to think it's still at that.
It is the most old school PC mag for me. Like it just feels like the PC mag. I love PC.
Carry the spirit.
Well, we appreciate that as well. But once again, if anybody. HEXtcg.com, PCGamer.com. We will be back again at twitch.tv/PCGamer on 1 p.m. Pacific time right here, and we'll see you then.